Hello, and in this video I'm going to give you a very quick breakdown on this design or piece of work that I created using Photoshop, Flareware, Dither Boy and After Effects. I'm mainly going to focus on the compositing element of this because I obviously am merging a lot of different things together to get this output, and as you can see from just looking at this, if you're familiar with dithering or Dither Boy, this is like heavy Dither Boy work. It is mostly done between Dither Boy and Photoshop. But I enjoyed working on this, and a few people said that it would be interesting to just see how it came together. So I'm going to just break that down for you today. Obviously, this is not a tutorial, so I'm not making it from scratch. I'm sort of going to do it in reverse, and you can see how it's done. So I've got Photoshop open here in front of me, and this is my original image. I will leave a link to this. This is just a stock photograph. I'll leave a link to this image in the description if you want to download it and design along with me here. But if we open this up in Dither Boy and we apply the dithering algorithm that I think I used, which was the orb diffuse Y algorithm. Yeah, it was this one. This isn't obviously what I went with, but this was, I think, my first sort of step when I was messing around to try to create this. And you can see that as you reduce the density here of the dither by reducing the brightness, the end result of what I actually got is about this on the hand, but you need to go much further to get rid of the artifacting in the background. The reason for this is because if you look here at the original image, if we just bring in like a curves and just up everything, there is more luminosity here, and there's obviously lots of JPEGiness going on, like JPEG compression. And if you zoom out on the image, it's not clear to me, I'm not a photographer, it's not clear to me what's happened here, but I'm wondering if maybe there was something else in this image that has been edited out before it was put on the stock photo website. But obviously that didn't work, so I moved on to add this lens flare from Flareware above the hand. I've also very badly content aware filled in the wrist here, because in this sort of first test in Dither Boy, the dither just collapses and fades away at the wrist, and I wanted it to be obviously a hand. Whenever you're working with effects like this, particularly diffusion dithering, you're gonna want to make sure you keep shapes and figures and focal points of the dither like nice and legible. So I didn't want the wrist to just fade out, because then you might lose the legibility of the hand shape basically in the dithering. So I've content aware filled this ugly bit of wrist and blurred it because I knew that the dithering was gonna basically mask out all that anyway. You can see here it's if I pull these out, this is the original. I've blacked out the top section and the bottom section and started content aware fill, and then if I get rid of these, you can see the rest of the content aware fill here. So because it's going to be dithered anyway, it doesn't need to be super clean. Now this flare that I've added in here is in Nebula Glow from Flareware, where I've just blown out the radius and reduced the intensity of the halo, and then I've reduced the cloud density as well. I don't have the exact flare settings that I used. This is the first time I've seen this version of Flareware in quite a while. There will be a totally brand new version of Flareware coming out quite soon, but this is the end result of the flare I got here, and then I've sort of doubled up on that layer and just masked out the center of it to like accentuate this ring around the central orb. So then if we come back into Dither Boy and try this again, it's going to be a similar problem where if you want to go low enough on the density to still have like the hand be legible but not have the orb be just, not have the flare just be basically a couple of lines, you've got to go so low on the brightness that it stops being worth it. So at this point I thought, this is not going to work, I'm just going to leave it here, and I actually created this piece, which is like a different piece of work. I'm not going to break down that one in this video, though I can if people want me to. And once I'd done that, I realized what I needed to do to not get a result like this, or just not get a rubbish dither result, was I needed to tint the whole image red. Now, depending on when this video goes up, I will have either already done or I will be about to upload a whole video that explains why red is the best color to dither. But basically, you're gonna have to take my word for it in this video that red is the best color to dither because it lives more in the midtones of an image. Boiled down and put very simply, green has a bias to be brighter, blue has a bias to be darker, and red has more hue that naturally lives in the midtones of an image, which is what I wanted in order to get this result. So this is the result I wanted, because you can see the central orb from the flare from Flareware, you can see the halo around it, the hand is legible and visible, the wrist is legible and visible, the fingers aren't blurring off into the background, background and we have no straight lines that come through the entire image. This is what I wanted. After getting this output, I've already got epsilon glow on this. So just to show you the actual dither here, it's this. We've got high scale, high luminance threshold, big orb count of 50, but they're all set to be really small and not very intense. That's what creates these little background particles. Low brightness, high saturation, brought the midtones down a little bit and the highlights all the way down. I'll leave this preset in the Dither Boy Discord as well, so you can have a look at it if you want. But I landed on this in the end and added epsilon glow to it, which got what I wanted, which was these little stars. But epsilon glow is designed for that. It's not designed to be like this big overpowering all-purpose glow, because it's only used for dithering, right? So it's not designed to be like a whole multifunctional use it on anything glow. If I just pull this background layer all the way up to be just behind what I'm about to show you, you'll see that it's just like a blurry version of what I had before, because what I've done, this is a little trick you can do with your dithering if you often take it into Photoshop. If I hide the additional glow I've made here and just get my regular output from Dither Boy, duplicate that, and then come down to blending options, and here where it says blend if we just move the current layer up, what you're going to do, if I reinsert this black in between and redo that, you're going to be cutting out the values from black all the way up to white. If I do it the other way, you'll see the image sort of just start to disappear. So this is useful because if you just cut out to only the brightest whites in your image by pulling this slider all the way up right into the white values and then convert that to a smart object, you'll see we've got no background now, but we do have some white values here and here that don't have the glow like already on them. And because we've got transparency and there's no black background anymore, if you go back into layer style and add an outer glow, this obviously looks bad here, but you can start to like add effects to the outlines of the dithering. That little demo I just gave you is sort of a bad version of what I ended up with. If I click into the smart object, what I've actually added is just a 1 pixel white stroke, and then I've added a Gaussian blur to that, and then we've added a layer mask that blacks out this central part of the palm in the hand. So essentially the result is that you get some more subtle glows around the edges of the image rather than having it all be focused on where epsilon glow can kind of do the unique glow that epsilon glow gives you. I've then just relayered in the exact same flare from before to its original position, just to make the orb above the hand like the focal point here. Now at this point I still wasn't really happy with the brightness, or just like it wasn't in your face enough. So I'm not going to load After Effects up in this tutorial, but there is an After Effects plugin called Deep Glow, which is a bit much for most dithering, but it's just a really cinematic glow. So I've just added a really basic deep glow effects from After Effects to the entire composition at this point, and then I've brought it back into Photoshop and retinted it blue using this specific shade of blue with a color fill layer with the blend mode set to color. So at this point it's no longer editable, it's all rasterized into one image. And in the previous one I showed you a minute ago where I said I went off and made this other design instead, I tried to make that one blue to begin with, but I ended up with this gold in the end, and so I wanted to use some gold on this as well. Blue and gold kind of hard to work together digitally because you can sometimes just end up with the gold just not being overpowering enough, because it's quite hard to strike a balance between it being saturated bright light and still look like an actual source of light. So if I click into this smart object and disable these effects I've got on the layers, this is literally just this classic quad flare, it's called, just exactly as is from Flareware. Again, this is a bit weird for me to look at this because I've been looking at the new version of Flareware for quite a while, but yeah, I didn't do anything at all to this. I literally just exported the exact default one, but you can obviously come in and edit your flares if you want in Flareware. But yeah, I literally just exported default classic quad flare, and if I bring in a black background, you'll see this is the arrangement. So it's still the same arrangement, it's just obviously we do some processing to this as well, but I'm placing all of these by hand, putting them all in one group, and then adding color overlay, outer glow, and drop shadow. You can see I added quite a lot of drop shadows. If I just pull this black background out of the folder so I can actually show you, yeah, so initially I did quite a lot of drop shadows, but it was a bit much, it was a bit overboard. So at this point I have basically encountered the problem that I mentioned before. If I save this and come back in, these flares are they're the right hue, but they're not. The hue is almost just detracting from their ability to shine. They just look awful. They look really out of place. So I ran these flares through deep glow as well. It took quite a few attempts to get anything right because there was a lot of these fake artificial halos that come through because of my layer styles. So when I bring it back from After Effects, I've got some more like brilliance or some more shine coming from my flares compared to before. But I've just added a little hue adjustment and we have added our first tilt shift. So this tilt shift is really subtle, but what tilt shift does basically is it allows you, if you can see here what's happening, you set a focal point and you set a blur, and you've got these thresholds where the blur will kick in and then kick in even more, so that you can have a point that's in focus where you've selected the focal point of your image, and then the flares will, or whatever it is you're running through this type of blur, it will get blurrier the further away it goes from the focal point basically. That one's very subtle, but from here, I've exported this version thinking I was done. And then when I've come back to it the next day, I felt like it was a little bit flat because you can see that there is a 3D thing happening in this dither, in that the wrist is at the forefront, the thumb and the end of the fingers are at the back of the image, and the hand is holding some kind of orb or whatever, but it all just falls flat, like it's all just one 2D arrangement basically, which obviously is hard to avoid with dithering. But I came in and I added tilt shift again to the entire image like this. So I've set the focal point as the orb, I've set up the distance either side, and I've added, I hate saying this word, bokeh, I don't know, I don't care how it's pronounced, but I'm just referring to these little things, and I'm going to avoid saying the word anymore. So when we're adding the blur, obviously our dithering, our dots are basically averaging out to be little smudges on the screen, just a little blurry arrangement of higher brightness pixels. And if we up the light bokeh, whatever slider, and the bokeh color slider, you can start getting some nice intense concentrations of blur coming through, so that now, instead of before it was flat, I got this Pokemon card here. So if you imagine this is my piece of artwork, if you turn this to the side before, or if you looked at it from the side before, it would have just done this. Now, I'm not going to bend this Pokemon card, but now we've added this tilt shift where there's more blur at the top and more blur at the bottom. If you turned it on its side, or if you looked at it from an angle, this is going to look bad, but the particles at the top and the bottom that are sort of brought in and formed by the blur appear closer to you because they're not in focus. You're looking into the image at the hand holding the orb, and you've got these little particles that are too close for you to focus on because you're looking into the distance, and so it creates this depth. You're looking into the image now, you're not just looking at a flat dither basically. That was one of the key final touches. A couple of things I still wasn't happy with though, so I added this little color adjustment that cranks the red all the way and cranks the blue all the way to yellow for the midtones. This just helps the orange stand out and not be overpowered by the blue. Then at step 6, where I showed you that little trick about layer blending, I've literally just duplicated these assets and brought them back up here for the final, and a couple of layers here where I'm going to need to change the blend mode. So if I set this to normal blending and disable the layer mask, I have then gone and redithered the whole entire image because I wanted to get some of this. If I reapply the layer mask now, which is just like an orb here, you'll see this is just adding like a bit of like an electric feel to this top lens flare that is on the orb. We then change the blend mode of that to screen, and it becomes a nice little subtle detail that runs in the glow. Now, when I've redithered these, I've maintained the same scale, which is 50, so that the dithering all lines up. I've then come back to this version, and I've exported just these flares from step 9 of this process. I've redithered these as well, and we've blended these in with the screen blend mode, but they're a bit overpowering and they clash a little bit in certain areas. So I've layer masked out certain sections like this here on the left, or this big ugly section of like interference here, so that all that's left is just stuff that contributes basically. Now at this point, I'm still feeling like there's too much blue and I want more orange. So I've also just taken this again and rerun it through the same deep glow that we had from step 9. So now you get this, and I've just sort of had to redo the layer masking to make sure that there's not as much clashing. Set that blend mode to screen. And then as a final touch, I was trying to think of some text or something I could add, but if I added text, it would have sort of undone all that work I did on creating the depth and emphasizing a focal point here. So all I did was just add the Studio AAA logo here at the bottom, and that is it. So that is how I took this stock photo all the way to this cool, deep and glowing and colorful piece of glitch art using diffusion dithering, lots of compositing and lots of glow and a little bit of blur as well. To be honest, I created this thinking I just needed to create something that wasn't going to be a tutorial, and here I am making a video about it. But I've kind of attempted this idea of handhold orb with some depth and glow a couple times, but this is the first one I think I'm going to show. There's a few other attempts I've done at this, but yeah, this is the one I landed on and the one I liked. It's generally quite hard to produce work that is both fun to make and fulfilling, and also create a tutorial on it. So hopefully you like this format of me just retracing my steps kind of thing. I'm not going to be sharing this PSD file, but I will share this Dither Boy preset, and I will share the lens flares and the stock photo, so you can basically rebuild it if you want. I'll go and pop those in the Discord. If you are not in the Dither Boy Discord, just click on settings in Dither Boy and click on Discord, and you can get in that way, and you can download these resources or lots of other stuff that I make as well. It's been a while since I've done prints or like printed any of my work out, so I might get this one done in like a holographic print. But yeah, this was the design breakdown. Hopefully you learned something. If you want to see me do more design breakdowns, let me know, because this is a way easier type of video to make, and I think a more interesting type of video to make than just me saying let's make it together on screen. Like, I feel like it's maybe a bit more interesting having me sort of retrace my steps here. But if you do prefer more conventional tutorial content, there's loads of that on my channel already. Other than that, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.